Hello everybody, this is a mental health video and we're going to just go over some replies to my Mr. Angry and Angry Game video. And one user's talking about how the fabric of society is declining over his lifespan and people lost their social skills. He's not wrong, right? I mean, I see people are on phones, consoles, PCs, on forums, they come to work at my place, talk to people like shit, get punched in the face for it. Right, happens every single day, so he's not wrong. The bit I do disagree with though is his last comment about his mod list and what he thinks players are allowed to do to modders. Now he says he's got 300 mods installed on his Xbox and it all works great, which I'm happy for him. It does, if that works the case. He describes them as highly compatible. So let's lay down some ground rules about compatibility based on his own words. He says modders should be making their mods compatible as possible, not touching things they don't need to touch and keeping away from stuff in the game, vanilla stuff in the game. I agree to mostly this extent, except for overhauls work by editing vanilla objects in the game and therefore are highly incompatible. So if you get any overhauls, anything that changes lots of things on normal people in the game, your mod list is not highly compatible, mate. You're already running a mod design to conflict with everything. If you're using patches, if you're merging mods and stuff like that, again, you've not got a highly compatible list of mods because you're already breaking several rules in that regard yourself. Now, he says he's got a right to be angry when modders don't make the effort to make these mods compatible and do all the things he says. Well, I would say no, you don't have any right to be angry, right? And some mods do work by being incompatible, by conflicting. And I give you an example, right? In my Return to Helgen mod, right, I made a conflict. I deliberately went out of my way to make NIF files and entries so my mod would conflict with Matty's Knights of the Nine Armour mod. I've done the same trick before in Oblivion. Which means if you've got Matty's Knights of the Nine Armour mod installed, right, and it's run after my Return to Helgen mod, it would replace the NIFs in man, and then suddenly my Knights of the Nine would have Knights of the Nine Armour on. That armour is not in my mod. But without the armour mod, you just see Ebony. With the armour mod, you see a Knights of the Nine armour. So you see, conflicts aren't always a bad thing. So overhauls work using conflicts. So going for a compatible thing means you wouldn't have any overhauls. You wouldn't have any Knights of the Nine armour, in a mod or anything like that. So you're wrong there. Also, when people install 300 mods on their system, do they ask me which mods I think they should be allowed to work? No, they don't. Do they run it past me? Do they say, can you give me a list of compatible mods? I'm only going to use what you suggest. No, they go ahead and do it on their own. So they can't blame the mod maker for what happens after that because the mod maker had no say in it. It's entirely on them what they did with their mod list, how they got it to work, which order it was in. Modder has no say in that. That's on the player. The player needs to accept responsibility. So when he starts adding another mod to it and it breaks, that's not the modder's responsibility, that's the player's responsibility. The modder has responsibility to make his own mod, and how he makes it is entirely up to him. He could make an incompatible mod, a really bad mod, a really good mod. It's not the player's business to be telling the modder how to make his mod. He's got entire freedom to make it any way he likes. And my Mr. Angry Game video exists because people took the same attitude as he did in the last post and started bullying mod makers about. It caused tens of thousands of mod makers just to stop making mods. Good ones, bad ones, newbies, they just left. I myself left the community, went to my own site and modded in private because of that same argument. And if you want to know what that means, imagine 10,000 people downloading some newbies mod and 10% of those attacking for it, right? That's 1,000 people attacking one person on the internet. Do you know what they call that in a court of law? Harassment. It's illegal. You can be arrested for it. So what you think is okay to do would get you arrested. And when I say Mr. Angry and an Angry Game up there, and we're talking about people doing illegal things, you've just given a fine example of why that video exists and what would be in that video. So you've got no right to be angry at a modder for making a mod. And the modder's got no say in what you put in your mod list either. So you just got to respect each other's opinions on that and get on with it. Now, given the damage it's caused, that very attitude, and how much fighting and arguing and flaming and trolling's gone on because of that very argument right there, I would say what you've got there is basically a fine example of the problem I've been talking about. So at the end of the day, right, it says when you're thinking about how mods are made, and who can make them and what can done about them, and players are being right to be angry, you're basically directly opposed to me, because you are an example of what I've been talking about. And you shouldn't be getting angry because a mod has an issue on your system. That should not, under any circumstances, cause you to be angry. And if it does, then you've got the problem I'm talking about in my video. When I make a mod or I install a new mod, I don't save my game, I just play about on it. And I look for signs that the modder knew what he was doing. And I look for signs that the modder wasn't a newbie making silly mistakes. And if I'm happy with the mod, if I find that it looks like it's made to a decent level, I keep it. Right? And if it isn't, I remove it. I might be disappointed if the mod's removed because I might have wanted to try it, but I'm not angry about it. It doesn't bother me. And when we talk about compatible mods, you should be able to just get the mods, drop it in your data folder, and not worry about the order. That's what I would consider to be a compatible mod list. If you can get 300 mods, close your eyes, do that, drop them in the folder, tick, 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 with no other alterations, and it just works, then you've got a highly compatible mod list. That's the kind of mod list I recommend. I do not recommend bass patching. I do not recommend normal patches. The set and overhauls I wouldn't recommend because of the way they were made. But that's for oblivion. Right? It says so. But I mean, I know what compatible means. And when you get my mods, you can usually just drop them in the folder and work just like I said. And it will work. No issues whatsoever. Because they're basically made the way you're describing there. And I've done that myself because I've learned to do it that way. But my first few mods, no, they didn't work that well with other mods. I edited things in ways I didn't even know was bad. Right? I had to learn the hard way. And if you scare people off by having thousands of people attack them for making mods wrong because they were angry and they felt they had a right to be angry at some mod over a mod that, they've got no right to say anything about, really, then people aren't going to stick around to learn to get better. They're going to leave because nobody wants to stick around to be abused. So people need to start understanding that everybody's got the choices to be made. Players have responsibility for their mod lists. If it doesn't work for them, then they can't point the finger at the modder when they've got 300 mods installed. Install one mod. If it works, then that mod works. If it then conflicts with the other 299 you've got installed, that's on you. You chose to install either 299 mods. The modder might not even have a single mod you've got installed. I mean, you might have a completely different set of mods installed. I guarantee I probably have, and I can guarantee my mods are compatible. And if it wasn't for the latest version of Skyrim being buggy as shit and crashing out all on its own, even with no mods, it wouldn't crash out at all with the mods of mine, because my mods have been stable for a long time, the ones on my mod list. So. But anyway, yeah, right. Everybody has to start respecting the fact that modders can make the mods any way they like, and players have no right to tell them how to do it, right? And the players, they can build their mod list any way they like, and nobody's got any right to tell them how to do that. All you can do is offer feedback to the mod maker, and the mod maker offer feedback to the player, right? And there should be nobody getting angry about any of this. And if you are getting angry about it, or you feel you have the right to be angry about it, see my video, the one you're disagreeing with. See you in the next one.